So we are taking up today fire insurance. So fire insurance, as all of you are aware, from 1st April 2021, RD introduced 3 new policies. These 3 new policies includes Bharat Gira Raksha policy, Bharat Sukshma Udyam Suraksha policy and Bharat Laghu Udyam Suraksha policy. Now that Gira Raksha policy meant for residential houses, dwellings, and these Sukshma Udyam and Laghu Udyam are for commercial purposes. My voice is clearly audible to all of you? Anyone can confirm? And presentation is also visible? Good. Okay, so let us see what the fire insurance, because this is not the new product in fact, but these 3 policies are new. Fire is a traditionally old product. If you want to understand the history of the fire insurance, I will give you a great example of it. The Great Fire of London took place on Sunday 2nd September to Wednesday 5th September in 1666. This fire tragedy was such a huge that it consumed 13,200 houses, 87 churches, most of the city buildings, and destroyed the homes of 70,000 out of 80,000 of the city's inhabitants. This was such a gigantic fire which destroyed all these properties in 1666. Then came the fire insurance into existence, and then the fire insurance keep on growing and developing with most of the new products, innovative products and new perils. So as far as the fire insurance is concerned, all the basic principles of the insurance are applicable to the fire category. If you want to see what are the basic principles, you can just understand the names. These are the insurable interest, utmost good faith, proximity or the proximate cause, and indemnity. So both the corollaries of indemnity like subrogation and contribution are also equally applicable to the fire insurance. Means at the time of taking the insurance policy as well as at the time of settlement of the claim, all these basic principles are applicable. Now, as far as the subject matter of fire is concerned, fire policy can be given to protect the buildings, plant and machinery, equipment and accessories, furniture and electrical fittings, goods or stock, you can say. Stock could be in the form of
सारे जोनल हेड्स की मीटिंग रखी है 10:30 बजे। इसमें मेरे को जो 3 रीजनल हेड मेरे हैं उसमें जाना है, तो हम 10-25 पे सर ट्रेनिंग से बाहर निकल जाएंगे। ओके, बाकी पूरी टीम रहेगी बाकी। ओके,
श्योर सर, थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू। So goods as in the form of semi-finished and finished goods stored in the warehouse or opened, and then pipelines present inside as well as outside the building. So these are all subject matter of fire insurance. And for the safety of all these things, fire insurance is normally given. So with the introduction of these 2 new policies, which are Bharat Sukshma Udyam and Bharat Laghu Udyam, the idea has changed many things, like coverage, sum insured, inbuilt additional coverage, innovative coverage, and a slight difference is there between these 2 policies. Now basically, this is a common conception among the buyers that the fire insurance policy covers the fire insurance alone. But this is not correct, because fire insurance policy has a long list of different perils, and most of the perils have nothing to do with the fire. Fire is only one peril, which is also part of this policy. But this is one of the biggest perils, you can say, because when we refer to the fire, fire means the production of light and heat by the combustion of burning. And there is said to be a fire within the meaning of the fire insurance. When there is actual ignition, fire is purely accidental or fortuitous in origin, and there must be something on fire which ought not to be on fire. So as far as fire definition is concerned, this is absolutely clear. But this keeps on revising time to time. Because as far as fire hazards are concerned, fire hazards means it's a sustaining process of rapid oxidation of a fuel which producing heat and light. But when the three basic components are together, fire becomes a hazard. And these things are fuel, that is any combustible material, second oxygen at a certain temperature, and oxygen with the temperature. So fuel, oxygen and temperature. These three things combinedly create the fire. And fire could be to any source. Source means anything and everything is susceptible to the fire. Fuel includes solids, liquids, vapors and gases. Solid fuel includes wood, fabric, synthetic material, packing material, papers, etc. And liquid fuels includes flammable liquids and other sources including flame, spark, spontaneous ignition and self-combustion. So these all forms the fire, but fire is one peril of this policy. As far as the risk classification is concerned, risk is classified into various classes. Because the fire could be one peril, but before giving the fire policy, all these things are necessary to see. Construction of structure, occupancy, nature of flooring, height, floor and wall opening, exposure, lighting, heating and power, place or situation, protection and time of loss. If at all the policy is continuing, then the time of loss. Otherwise, occupancy is most important. Because occupancy will decide what is the premium rate or what is the risk, whether it is acceptable or not, because it could be in the decline list of the company. So this is the classification of fire. Then what are the important changes made by the IRDA? Because the policy is introduced with a lot of changes and now it has been simplified because the language is not complex in nature. Present policy does not provide complete coverage. Present policy means standard fire and special peril policy, then only these policies were introduced. So now these three policies are providing complete coverage, especially commercial two policies. And sometimes there is mis-selling of products by deleting some coverage or not providing required urban coverage. So the mis-selling could be by deleting some coverage. The people who are from the core insurance industry, they understand that in the standard fire and special peril policy there are two set of perils which are allowed to be opted out of the policy. Means they can be excluded and premium rebate can be claimed. But those two set of perils are the most important because most of the losses are caused by those two set of perils, and they includes not only two risks, multiple risks. One is RSMD, that includes three perils like riots, strikes and malicious damage. Other one is STFI, that includes again acts of God and divine perils like a storm, tempest, flood, and inundation, commonly known as, but also includes the cyclone, hurricane, tornado, etc. So in previous policies there was no clarity of coverage. Now it is because most of the things have been clarified. And one most important thing is that the sum insured pattern has been decided, that how the sum insured of the property insured under these policies will be decided. So these policies are applicable only up to the sum insured of 50 crore rupees, Sukshma Udyam and Laghu Udyam. And over and above that, external fire and special peril policy will still be given, because that policy is not obsolete. Only thing is that will not be applicable up to the sum insured of 50 crore. Most of the add-on covers of the external fire and special peril policy have been merged into these four policies in the basic coverage, and now they have been made as the inbuilt coverage without any additional premium. So these policies have already come into force from 1st April 2021, so almost more than 3 years are over. Now all these policies up to the sum insured of 50 crores are given for the new proposals, for the renewal proposals, and for the market rollover proposals. So the bifurcation of the sum insured is given. The parameter is only the limit of the sum insured, because in Bharat Sukshma Udyam the sum insured up to 5 crores is covered only. The moment it is exceeding the 5 crore, the policy Bharat Laghu Udyam structure will be applicable. So Bharat Laghu Udyam structure is more than 5 crore, 250 crore, and sum insured is based on the value of risk at one location. That means your role is only to get the proposal form filled in, sum insured to be filled in, and thereafter the company software will automatically convert the policy according to the sum insured, whether it is Sukshma Udyam or it is Laghu Udyam. So now, for all non-industrial risk and industrial risk, for all type of storage risk and utilities and tanks, up to the sum insured of 50 crore, these two policies will apply. When it is said that the risk is non-industrial risk, it means there is no production, no output, no turnover. The services are rendered. For example, hotels, offices, shops, hospitals. In these units, you will not find the turnover. Turnover in the different form are there, but manufacturing or output is not there. But when the all type of manufacturing risks are covered, it could be any type of industry or production house. And then all type of storage risk is covered, that means go down could be open or closed. And any type of utilities and tanks are also insured under this policy. Thereafter comes that the policy has been expanded from 12 to 14 perils. No peril is allowed to be deleted. All 14 perils will continue from the date of commencement of the policy till the expiry date of the policy. Sum insured will decide the applicability of the policy, because only up to the 5 crore rupees the Sukshma Udyam will apply. The moment the sum insured is exceeding, it will be converted into Laghu Udyam. But if in the mid-term of the policy the sum insured is exceeding, the policy will continue throughout the policy period. Thereafter only at the renewal time, the policy will be converted into the next one. Compulsory excess is also fixed, because in SPSU 5,000 rupees on each item, each claim, and in SPLU 5% of each claim subject to a minimum of 10,000. There is no variation in the compulsory excess, and neither it can be changed on the request of the insured. In case of terrorism, the compulsory access would be different because the terrorism risk is not handled directly by the company. There is a terrorism pool which decides the premium rate, coverage, and the compulsory access also. And the minimum premium of the policy is 500 plus GST for SPSU and 1000 plus GST for SPSU. So these are the major changes made in these two policies. In addition to the standard fire and special peril policy. As such, there is no change incorporated in the standard fire and special peril policy. That will remain as it is. Only thing is that would come into force only after the sum assured of 50 crore. So if any customer is asking to you a policy for say 46 crore rupees of the sum assured, you don't get confused. Policy will be only Bharat Laghu Udyam Suraksha because up to the sum assured of 50 crore, that is the policy applicable to cover the risk. Then there were changes made in certain perils, and all changes were made in favor of the policyholder's interest. Because the object of the IRDA is very clear, that is to promote the insurance, to develop the insurance, and to protect the interest of the policyholders. So whatever decisions are taken by the Insurance Regulatory and Development Authority, they are all in favor of the policyholders. They are all to increase the penetration, they are all to promote the products. So when these two new policies were introduced, the object was very clear. The product has to be revised in favor of policyholders because the penetration has to be increased and the demand of the product should be created. So the definitions of few risks or perils were changed, like fire. Earlier the fire peril was not covering the own fermentation or natural heating or spontaneous combustion because these were the add-ons. These are still add-ons in the standard fire and special peril policy. Add-on means supplement is charged, then only this risk is covered. But here in these two policies, now these are the part of inbuilt coverage and there is no additional claim charge for them. So on fermentation, natural heating and spontaneous combustions are automatically covered under the peril, fire. Secondly, bush fire is also including now forest fire and mineral fire, while these are still add-on covers in the standard fire and special peril policy. Means available on additional claim only. The definition of impact damage was changed because any machinery or vehicle or animal belonging to the third party was covered earlier, but now belonging to the owner is also covered and aircraft damage is also covered. Aircraft damage is now part of the impact damage. Three new perils were included like earthquake, terrorism and theft. They are also part of the inbuilt coverage now. Theft will apply in limited sense because exclusive theft is not covered. If it is followed by any other peril, then the theft is covered from day 1 to day 7. That means after flood or after fire or after riots, if something is stolen from the insured premises, that would be covered. Only theft is there, then it will not be covered. And the most important change is that no peril can be deleted from the policy from day 1 to the expiry date because these are causing mis-selling of the policy. Now, neither on the request of the insured nor as per the wish of the insurer, STFT or RSMD or earthquake or terrorism, nothing can be deleted. These are very clear. So the add-on covers which are still there with the standard fire and special peril policy includes a long list. These are still add-on covers in the list of standard fire and special peril policy as per the provisions of the fire tariff. And these include forest fire, impact damage, terrorism, temporary removal of stock, leakage and contamination, cover, spontaneous compensation cover. These are all add-ons in external fire and special peril policy as per fire tariff. But now, most of them have already been merged into both the policies. So, even the removal of debris and architects and surveyor fees, which are already there, means part of the policy, their limits have been devised. And certain add-on covers like addition or extensions, temporary removal of stocks, cover for specific contents, startup expenses, cost compared by municipal regulations, preloaded software, stock and interest, and floaters. These are all inbuilt coverage, means nothing is charged extra to cover these risks. They are the part of inbuilt coverage, they are already included in the policy. This is different from the standard fire and special peril policy. These two policies will provide the coverage for these risks, these add-ons, without any additional premium because they are part of the inbuilt coverage. Now the question is, floater risk is a risk which is opted by the insured. Floater risk means cover for stocks at multiple locations under one sum insured. I make it clear by an example. Suppose my textile mill is there in the Bhilwara. Say Vimal Textiles. Of course, it's a national brand, pan-India brand. So, I've taken 4 godowns in 4 metro cities. That is Delhi, Mumbai, Kolkata, and Chennai. So, therefrom the supply is given to the distributors or to the retailers or to the franchisees. But my main manufacturing unit is at Bhilwara. So the sum insured of my Bhilwara unit is, say, 80 lakhs. And the stocks in the godowns of these 4 metros normally remains up to the 1 crore. Now I want only one policy where my factory as well as my 4 godowns are covered under the one policy under one sum insured. So this is possible in the fire insurance. If 4 godowns of 4 different locations are covered under the same policy under one sum insured, it means normally the insurance company will charge the floater premium to cover the floater risk. But here, if my sum insured is up to the 5 crore only, so Bharat Sudha Suraksha policy will be given, and that policy does not charge any additional premium to cover the floater risk. Mine could be 2 godowns, 4 godowns, 6 godowns, it makes no difference. The only thing is I have to declare the location of my godowns in the proposal form. And there will be no additional premium to cover the risk on the floater basis. But the moment my sum insured exceeds 5 crore rupees and the policy is converted into Bharat Laghu Udyam Suraksha, in that case the 10% extra premium will be charged. It means floater risk is free in the Sukshma Udyam Suraksha only. And declaration policy is given when the frequent fluctuations in the stock value are there. But there is also no additional premium. This policy means the insured will declare a monthly declaration declaring the value of the stocks every month so that the insurance company can know that to what extent we are responsible and what is the maximum coverage. Okay. What is the maximum coverage we are on the list. Then, how to decide the sum insured of the policy? So earlier there were a lot of conditions because the plenty of values were there in the fashion. They were all applicable. Say for example, purchase value, sale value, market value, initial value, initial value, book value, depreciated value. All these values were there. So the confusion was there that on what basis the sum insured should be taken. Now it has been decided that the sum insured of the buildings, plant and machinery and furniture purchase will be taken on the basis of the restatement value only. And restatement value will be applicable to all kind of properties. As far as stock is concerned and the goods is concerned, that will be insured on different basis. Say for example, if raw material is there. So raw material will be insured on the landed cost at insured premises, and the stock in process will be insured at the cost of the stock at the time of release. And finished stock, that is manufacturing cost of the finished stock of the contract price of the goods sold but not delivered. Means raw material, stock in process and finished stock will be insurable at the different costs applicable to them. But building, plant and machinery and furniture purchase will be insured only at the restatement value. If there are any precious items or bullion or assets, means these are the items which have the unexpected values. So some work of art is there. Of the work of art, the basic contents value is nominal. But the value is of that art and it cannot be ascertained in normal terms. It depends upon the buyer to buyer. It depends upon the demand of that particular art. So in such cases, the agreed value basis is adopted because agreed value means invoice value or the value decided by the certified valuers. So this is the method of deciding the sum insured under these two policies, and which is very clear now because there is no confusion. All the properties will be insured on the restatement value, all the stocks and materials will be insured on different prices. They could be landed cost, input cost and manufacturing cost. So now the question is, what is the restatement value? Restatement value means current replacement value. How the current replacement value could be decided? Say suppose that my textile mill, I purchased a machinery, textile machinery of 3 crores. Now this machinery was purchased 2 years back in 3 crore rupees. Today if I go to buy the same machinery of same make of the same manufacturer, the cost is 3 crore 80 lakh rupees. So when I need the insurance for this machinery, this plant and machinery, today my sum insured should be 3 crore 80 lakh. At what cost I have purchased it, that is immaterial. What is the resale value of it, that is immaterial. What is the book value or depreciated value, nothing to do with that. At what cost it can be replaced today, that matters only, and that is the restatement value. Because this is the amount at which the insured property can be restated or replaced by a similar property without deducting depreciation. That means if you can see it in this correct sense, you presume it that the insurance company is ready to pay the current replacement value. That means the value of the new property, provided your sum insured is adequate. If your sum insured is adequate, insurance company will deduct nothing. Otherwise, this policy is subject to underinsurance. The claim amount will be deducted proportionately and the insured will be the loser. So the property should be insured at the restatement value only. But in case of goods, the value can differ. Say suppose some item is purchased but not delivered to the buyers. That is in the custody of the seller. Seller will be insured. So if it is damaged in his custody only, he will claim the insurance from the insurance company, and insurance company has to pay the contract price. Contract price means at what price you have sold it. Because that is the real loss. If that is the real loss, that means that loss is payable. Now comes the cover for specific contents. And these are called innovative covers. These are introduced only in these two policies. These are not at all there in the standard fire and special peril policy. किसी का कोई सवाल हो तो पूछ सकते हैं, कोई डाउट हो तो पूछ सकते हैं. ऐसा नहीं है कि वन वे चले. सिर्फ अगर समझ में आ रहा है then it is okay, I will continue. नहीं हो तो पूछ सकते हैं. At the end of the session also you can ask any question. So these are the 4 innovative covers which are also part of the policy. अब ये पहले स्टैंडर्ड फायर एंड स्पेशल पॉलिसी में नहीं थे. 20 स्टैंडर्ड फायर एंड स्पेशल पॉलिसी is still there. This policy is still not covering money risk up to 50,000, document risk up to 50,000, computer program risk up to 5 lakh, and personal effects of visitor, employees and directors up to 3 lakh rupees. Standard fire and special peril policy does not provide this coverage, but these two policies provide this coverage. Means these are the risks which are other than the inbuilt risks of the policy. These are the risks which are additional, but no additional premium is charged by the insurance company. These are the risks which are introduced by the IRDA in these two policies only. So these are innovative. Cover for specific contents. Money, documents, computer data, personal effects of visitors. These could be your USP while selling the policy. You can elaborate them that we will provide the coverage for your 4 things additionally without charging any extra premium. We will cover along with your fire policy the money risk up to 50,000, document risk which includes deeds, manuscript and drawing up to 50,000, your computer information and data risk up to 5 lakh rupees. If there is any meeting, any board meeting or any conference and the personal effects of your visitors or employees or directors is damaged, we will pay up to 3 lakh rupees. That is for 20 people, 15,000 per person. So this is also the part of the coverage, and this policy is applicable to all the general insurance companies of India. All the policies are providing it. But the people are not aware, they are not highlighting these aspects. Now, waiver of underinsurance. This is another important feature of this policy because this policy has waived underinsurance up to 15%. This waiver is special because if the underinsurance is there, policy is not insured for the full value. In that case, if there is any loss or damage, the insured will not be paid full claim amount. If the policy is not for full value, loss or damage will not be paid for the full value. If the policy is underinsured, the claim will be deducted for the same proportion and that will be undervalued. So this is a loss which is directly suffered by the insured, the policy holder, which we don't want. If we are causing any loss to our own policy holder, he will not buy, he will not get the policy renewed. He will be out of your kit. And these are the small things which can be explained to him. If at the time of loss or damage your sum insured is found less than the current market replacement value, still we will consider up to the 15%. So we will consider and we will deduct nothing in that case. This practical example can explain it, that if your building or your factory or your office is insured for 5 crore rupees and there is a loss of 1 crore rupees due to insured peril, maybe fire, earthquake, flood, cyclone. So because the policy is for 5 crore rupees, loss of 1 crore rupees is payable for full. Insurance company has to settle the claim. But unfortunately, when the surveyor is going and inspecting the risk, and he found that the value of the office is 5 crore 50 lakh, it is not insured for the full value, it is insured for 5 crore only. So there is under insurance of almost 10%. In that case, the 10% will be deducted from the claim amount because this under insurance clause is there, average clause will apply. So that 10% could be lakhs of rupees or millions of rupees. So it is difficult for the insured to bear that kind of loss because that is not on the part of the insured. Insured doesn't understand what is under insurance. Insured doesn't understand which value of the property has to be taken at the time of insurance. That will be guided by you. That will be explained by you. You are the right person to direct them, or your brokers, whoever is selling the policy. But the only thing to explain is that the value should not be underinsured. You charge the higher premium, you charge the higher sum insured, because that will protect the interest of the policyholders only. Higher premium doesn't mean higher rate of premium. If the property value is 3 crore rupees and there is a possibility of the enhancement of the value, it may go up to 3 crore 50 lakh rupees, it may go up to 4 crore rupees. So better to prefer the sum insured up to 4 crore. Because this time if you are paying the premium, that will protect you at the time of claim and you will not lose any money. Otherwise, under insurance can compel you to lose lakhs of rupees. So as far as this waiver is concerned, 15% under insurance can be waived. But if it is more than 15%, that is 20%, 25%, 30%, that means the policy is not issued on the restatement value basis. In that case, nothing will be waived. In that case, claim will be directed in proportion of the under insurance. So that is very harmful to the insured or to the policyholder. Under insurance should not be there. Now, stock held in trust. This is important because earlier this was not covered and the standard fire and special policy is still covering this risk on an additional premium. While these two policies are not charging any premium because this is part of the coverage. A stock held in trust is most useful in cases where the goods doesn't belong to the owner of the shop or factory or office. Because if you see the practical examples, you will find, say suppose a dry cleaner shop is there. So the shop of a dry cleaner, all the clothes, wrappers, curtains, or anything which has come for the dry cleaning belongs to the customers. Dry cleaner is not owner of that property. But if it is damaged in his shop, it is burnt, it is lost, or damaged by the floods. In that case, dry cleaner is responsible to pay the compensation to the owners of those properties. So this kind of stock is called stock handling trust because this is the business. Similar is the case of the motor vehicle garages. In garages, you will find all the vehicles are belonging to the customers. But if there is a fire or flood or cyclone and those all vehicles are damaged, it becomes the duty of the garage owner to pay the compensation. So if the fire policy is there, this risk is covered now and payable under the policy. Similar is the case with the additional alteration or extensions where any extension or alteration is made during the policy period that will be covered during the policy period now. If it is intimated to the insurance company and accordingly the premium is paid. Maybe it's a mid-term risk. Maybe the addition is made in the continuity of the policy. If any alteration or extension is made during the policy period, that can be covered. Only thing is intimation should be given to the insurance company. and it should not be more than 15% of the total value. So the endorsement will be passed and this will be covered. So basically these two policies are almost similar, but they are different on the part of sum insured, because the sum insured covered in the Sukshma 5 crore only and the 50 crore over 5 to 250 crore. Compulsory excess is also different because the Sukshma is having the compulsory clause of 5,000 rupees on each claim, while Lagu Udyam is 75% of claim amount and 10,000 rupees on each claim. The startup expenses limit is different, that is 1 lakh rupees in the Sukshma and 5 lakh in Lagu Udyam. Floater coverage is different because in Sukshma Udyam it is free, no additional charge, but in Lagu Udyam 10% loading charges are there. Minimum premium rate is also different because 500 plus GST is in Sukshma Udyam and 1000 plus GST in Lagu Udyam. Now there are certain other features. At any point of time, if insured or policyholder come to know that the sum insured is not adequate, he can get it increased during the policy period by paying additional premium to the insurance company. The insurance company will not call the policy back, they will issue only an endorsement subject to the attachment to the policy, and the sum insured can be increased during the policy period. As simple as that. No complication. If I found that my office is insured for 5 crore while the value of my office is 7 crore, I should not continue with the policy which is not adequately insured of 5 crore. I should try that I should pay difference amount and I get the sum insured increase to 7 crores. Because otherwise, even if there is a partial loss to my property, say even 50 lakh rupees, that 50 lakh rupees will not be paid to me in total because my sum insured is not adequate. So the average probability let that claim amount. Why should I bear this risk? Because at the time of loss, I can bear the loss of lakhs of rupees or millions of rupees. So better the day I come to know that sum insured is not adequate, I should pay difference amount of premium, I can get an endorsement, and the risk will be covered. But the compulsory excess will not revise, that will remain the same. The maximum liability of the insurance company is limited to the sum insured only. So add-on covers, whatever are there in the standard fire and special peril policy, they will remain to be covered on payment of additional premium. But here, whatever add-on covers are merged into the basic policy as the individual coverage, they will be available without payment of any additional premium. Now the policy also provides certain add-on covers. These add-on covers are new, not as per the fire trade. New add-on covers, whatever was submitted by the insurance company, they are approved by the IRDAI. In first phase, we got 8 add-on covers, that is installment protection up to 50,000 rupees per year life, claim preparation cost, loss of rent and additional expenses of rent for an accommodation. In first instance, we got these 4 add-on covers approved, and thereafter 4 more add-on covers are available, that is accidental damage cover, then escalation clause, then 2 more, involuntary betterment, and expenses for loss minimization. So 8 add-on covers are available to us. And these are all voluntary, optional. If the insured can't, he can choose. Otherwise, he may not. Because as per the requirement, they are required. If there is no requirement, insured should not take them. Restoration of sum insured provision is also applicable because when the claim is paid to the insured, the sum insured will be reviewed by that claimant. If the unexpired risk of policy is there for 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, during that period, insured should prefer to get it, the sum insured reinstated by payment of additional premium. So this is the fire policy. Now if you have any questions, you can ask anything. These policies we are already selling. These are the policies required most by the buyers of any kind, maybe it's a micro office or it's a small and medium enterprises or it's a corporate or an industry, factory, hotel, office, whatever it is. And this separate policy is required. These separate policies are there. But if the insured bond package policies, still the package policies can be given, and these two policies could be part of those package policies as the mandatory section of the package policy. So when this section 1 of those package policies is fire insurance, as per the sum insured, that fire policy will be converted automatically in the Sukshmidhyam or the Lagudhyam. So as the package policy also fire cover is available, individual policy also fire cover is available. As per requirement of the customer, the fire policy can be given. If it is a residential property, Bharat Raksha policy will come into the picture. If it is a commercial property, Sukshmudhyam, Lagudhyam and the standard fire and special peril policy. Any questions of anyone?